residency, the other 25 kids who were there, you know, more than 50%, almost 60% of those kids were out of soccer after 2 years later from the residency. The exact same thing in the 2001 class and the 2003 class. So I think we do not have a track record of selecting and understanding what are the qualities that are associated with elite, successful players who are going to be pros. And so I think to mandate that would say to me that we know that this system is going to develop the players that we hope they will. And I don't know if that's the case right now. I don't see the track record there. And so, you know, to have the program, it's fine. To mandate it, I think is probably not a good idea.
Wouldn't Jurgen Klinsmann argue this is how it's done around the rest of the world, and it seems to be pretty successful for Italy and Germany and France?
Can I add to that?
I'm playing devil's
advocate. I think this is a great topic because one of the reasons, you know, that this has come along, the academy, is identification of players. And I can remember when I was working in the ODP program, when Rick was the director, him talking about how it wasn't fair IDing guys, you know, getting together once a week with the state team and then going to the regional camp to get looked at. They should be being looked at in their club environment. He was saying that 25 years ago, right? Okay? And now, okay, good. These are the elite players, okay? These are the guys that are making the choice that they want to pursue excellence. And now they're being put in the right training environment, playing in really competitive games, and being scouted on a regular basis by national team scouts that see them, you know, maybe 15, 20 times a season between the showcases and the regular season games, and they're looked at on a regular basis in their club environment, in their natural playing environment, and the pool now is being very, very closely monitored. Okay, there's immense lists. There's conference calls twice a week, you know, with the national staff talking about players. And now the selection process, you know, is a little bit more refined, where they're brought from there into the U.S. soccer training centers, and then brought into the national team camps, you know, based on their performance, you know, in their game environment with their club or academy team, okay, and what they do with the market training center. And I think one of the good things about those U.S. soccer training centers is it's not just for the academy guys, okay? They've branched out, and beachside players are in there, Everton players are in there, Soccer Plus players are in there, okay? So, you know, they're scouring, you know, much more in depth than they used to be with guys that just popped up at a regional camp every so often.
And out of all those players, how many are going to get picked?
Out of which players?
This vast pool of players. How many will then get selected to the national pool that you're talking about?
Well, to which, you know, there's different age group pools. The U14 pool, I think, is a little bit larger. That's probably, you know, 60 players that they bring into camp, and then as it moves up to U15,
so
probably gets
how many from Connecticut? How many from Connecticut?
One now.
We've got about 15 minutes left. I want to make sure we get to all the questions.
So I think too, California obviously is the leader there.
Do we have more questions in the audience? I want to make sure we get to all your questions before we lose our panel tonight.
Hi, I'm Fred Cantor. I played at Staples with Steve Bauman, and I definitely was not good enough to go to the academy. I just am questioning the whole premise of establishing a top national team, which, because of my experience at Staples, I became a huge soccer fan. I want to see the team succeed at the highest level, but I just question the premise that we necessarily need a unified national program, because I have two related questions, which are the reigning World Cup champion, Spain. Wouldn't it be more accurate to say they have achieved their supremacy because of the incredible youth programs of two phenomenal club teams, Barcelona and Real Madrid, which are not identical in their training? And if that's true, would the USSF be better by tapping some of the top kids and sending them over to European youth programs? I think the kid O'Brien did that with Ajax some years ago. Would the top US players better be served by training in the youth program with some of the best players in the world, rather than have a bunch of pretty good American players playing with each other?
college coaches?
It's illegal. UEFA and FIFA, they have regulations on doing things like that, but it does happen, that they bring players. Mickey was in Barcelona about a year ago, and there's a good group of players out of Africa, there now. The problem comes in, again, and the high school coaches here were so, on top of this one, the social development. I mean, that's a really, really immense challenge socially, for a 13 or 14 or maybe 15-year-old young man, to go over and pick up, leave, and go. Has it happened? Yeah. John O'Brien left, I think, when he was 16 years old from California, and he went into Ajax's academy, which is, one of the top ones in the world, in order to develop. Giuseppe Rossi, who plays now for Italy. I can't remember the club, unfortunately, but he's from New Jersey. Okay? And his father actually played at Southern Connecticut for Bob DeCranian. So has it happened? Yes. Is that the right way, socially? Because, you put a guy in an environment where socially he's really struggling, it can become difficult. Ajax, I know within their academy, they won't select a player to participate in their academy program if he's not within 50 kilometers of their training headquarters, because they want them to be at home with their families where they're a little bit more, Would it be better? Yeah, absolutely, because getting the best players, in the right environment, absolutely. But socially, I think there becomes big questions there.
Next question from the audience. We have more?
Got one, and you guys have done a great job addressing a lot of issues.
Just identify yourself, please, sir.
Yeah, Rob Stone. I went here to Staples, played a little bit against Mickey, played with you. I learned a lot from Dan, who was my travel coach. Took us to the regional finals. Great experience. The real question I have is why the hard rule? I mean, the whole panel started out about choice, and then, Rick, I think you made a good point that the sport selects the best, and there's also this concept that there's a very big cost of taking this big group out of high school soccer and forcing them to make a choice. Why not just let the kids select? And your academy programs might have the superstars who know that the right thing is that they have to play 10 months a year exclusively with you. And you might have some people who are good enough to play for you, but also say, look, it's important for me to be part of the high school team in my community.
I don't make the rules.
Well, and I understand that. They were handed to you, but you're here, you're in the hot seat, and you have an opinion, and we've heard Dan's opinion, and we've heard Brian's opinion. What would be wrong with it? And I know you're in a difficult situation here, but
I don't think it's a difficult choice. I really don't. And no one's addressed these boys that are here.
No, I know, but they made a choice. But what I'm saying is, the U.S. Soccer Federation is making
based
a
on the
demand.
rules today, they have to make the choice of either doing it full time or not.
Right.
They're the only exemption of the prep school kids. But we're required to field a team in the fall, so we can't have very many exemptions. Exemptions, rather.
I think he's trying to get into U.S. Soccer's head in terms of the logic of forcing that decision as opposed to, you know what?
Because I think it's a different product. It's a different game. The high school product is a different product. It's a different game, and they want it to be a continuum of playing under different rules. It's quite different when you experience an 80 or 90-minute game with no reentry. Quite different.
Basketball, baseball, you could throw football in there, but that's really a domestic game. They've all figured it out, though. So
We're pretty much the best in the world in those sports, right?
that's my point.
Yeah, so we don't really need to change what we're doing. I think the model's working for baseball and basketball. The problem is not working for soccer, so we really need to change.
But I would counter that, it's a different game for those one or two kids that we just said would go on to the national level. For the rest of them who will